most people think they are too small to be hacked.
And the truth is, you're not too small to be hacked. From a business perspective, it's best to be proactive than being reactive. It's more expensive. You should save money down for these things. You should have it part of your budget.
Avoiding it is definitely the cheaper way to go, because nobody knows to what extent you could be exposed or how bad it could become.
If I was working with company A and company A got hacked today, I would close off every connection I have with them for that moment, at least to know that they are backup and they have cleaned their environment, Business and financial risk, I think emotions are aside, right? So we're talking about people's money, we're talking about people's data, we're talking about things people bank on day to day.
With a multi-factor authentication enabled, that means I'm safe now. Nothing can happen to my account.
You've taken a step towards being secure.
Yes.
You can't be complete security is a fallacy. You can't completely be secure.
Imagine coming to work one Monday morning and you just realize that there's no access. None of your staff can even enter the building. There's been a breach. What's the next step? How do you even recover from something like that?
And the very funny thing is, most of these incidents, they even happen way back. It doesn't even happen at that particular point in time. Do you get it? It could have been maybe one employee leaked his credentials online. He was phished, click a phishing email. It could be a number of things, right?
So you're saying somebody can just be in your systems for days?
Yeah, for months, persist for months, and you don't even know. You have no idea.
So the truth is, it's not how people respond to this. The truth is, can businesses bounce back on this?
Yeah,
right?
that's a very valid question, because bounce back ability, it's not a very English word, right?
Yeah.
But the ability to bounce back from
Yeah.
events, threats really does matter.
But bouncing back, for example, now I'm a small business.
Yeah.
What business do I have with all this extra infrastructure, all this tech? I feel like they're just overhyped trying to sell.
From the business perspective, yes. Most people think they are too small to be hacked, don't you? You agree?
Yes, most people think they're too small to be hacked. And the truth is, you're not too small to be hacked, right?
Definitely not.
From a business perspective, it's best to be proactive than, being
Reactive.
hacked.
Yeah, than being reactive.
Right? Yeah, than being reactive. It's more expensive, to be in an incident, and not having plans to remediate that incident.
Yeah, that's
It's way
correct.
more expensive. From the business perspective, you should save money down for these things. You should have it part of your budget.
Yeah, but how do we even go from? Because, for example, now I already know that most of all these companies, even to get a consultation, I have to start paying money at first.
Right. Most
So,
people don't want to pay
yes.
that huge amount
So
of
at
money.
first, I didn't even know what to look for. I'm always here, and I just know there's a lot of things technically. But
Yeah.
what should I even look for first of all?
Board members would not be able to understand technical jargon. They just want to know, how much money am I pumping? How much money am I losing?
Yes. So the truth is, this is where the CISOs and Centrisec come in place. What we do is we align businesses with compliance, we protect organizations, and we also help them comply with regulatory standards. There are frameworks to these things, right? There's no one way to reach the goal, right?
Yeah. Security, like I say, security it's not a destination, it's a journey.
It's a journey, yes, not
Yeah,
a destination.
it's a journey.
So if you are trying to get to that goal, you need to be proactive, right? In the security space,
Clock it.
in the security space, right, there are different levels to security, right? And I believe for every infrastructure, there's affordable security for you.
Yeah, first of all, security. That's the whole idea we're pushing out, right? So we're trying to appeal to the masses, appeal
Yeah.
to those who can't
Yeah,
and those who can.
yeah.
Right? So we're not very niche, but like we say, it's align, protect, comply. That's just the motto. That's just what we're focused on.
So many of all this sounds like digital security and stuff, but for me now, if I have a business that is mostly physical, not online, online, all we do is take calls and we just go and do what we need to do. Is there any kind of risk that we're exposed to?
mean, you also have to consider what happens outside of the workplace, right? Because yes, you might be in that confined environment. Maybe you don't even go out. It's air gapped,
Yeah.
right? But what happens when you leave there? It doesn't mean you are not still vulnerable to, or you can't be,
So the question now is, are you a brand? If you are a brand, would you want to protect your identity? Would you allow someone steal your identity and use your identity for, things that are malicious, things that don't speak well of your brand? For instance, you wake up in the morning and you get a call from your secretary saying a customer was hacked, and a fake page used your brand as the face of that, that scam, right? And if you're not proactive, if you don't try to take these people down before they even get to your clients or get to your customers, that can be a whole major breach for you.
Yeah, and it's very nice you talked about, because I remember a point where we had that customer, right, that had that fake domain.
Yes.
We had to do takedowns.
Takedowns,
There
yeah.
was a lot of problems.
Sorry, what do you mean by takedown and fake domain?
Yeah, takedown, like we had to remove it from the internet. Like we had to restrict access to that domain because it was fake.
So when you say fake, how do attackers even exploit something like this? What's their gain, or
Okay,
how
for
how
instance,
does it affect you?
I know in Nigeria we're all used to, or we've all heard the Yahoo boy phrase, right? Yahoo boys are basically threat actors. They are basically scammers.
Yeah.
They're the people that, ride on businesses, and they're the people that businesses are trying to, secure themselves from rather. That's the typical Nigerian local Yahoo boy. He's also a hacker, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the truth is,
People hacking.
yeah, it's people hacking.
People hacking.
Whether hacking your social intelligence or hacking you as a person or hacking your systems, right?
All right. So is that what social engineering means? I've always
Yes.
heard that.
Social engineering simply means someone trying to play on your intelligence, for financial gain, right? We all hear the Yahoo boy phrase, the client phrase, all of those things are still hacking in some sort of way. It's financial loss in some sort of way, and we in Africa now, we see there's a rise in this particular threat actors, right? And how do we go about this? How do you think security should think about it?
So from the business perspective, right, do you think funding like security services would be cheaper than reacting to an incident?
Well, overall, it sounds like avoiding it is definitely the cheaper way to go, because nobody knows to what extent you could be exposed or how bad it could become. So I think from a business perspective, anything that will stop me from doing my business or attending to my customers or clients is always the top priority. So it's a no go question for me.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay. Because let's you go first.
From what I think is, it's very important to be proactive. When I mean proactive, you train your staff.
Yeah.
You do your due diligence to your third parties, whatever third party you be using, whether APIs or, for instance, you're buying laptops from third parties and you've not done your due diligence to know if these third parties are using refurbished laptops or not. Those little minute things that we might think are too small to
trivial.
or trivial to put your mind on. There was an incident 5 years ago. The company bought set of laptops from a particular vendor they use, right? And the vendor usually refurbish laptops, right? And part of the people that refurbish laptops put a chip and a bug in that laptop, right? And that laptop was extracting data, right? Any data that comes through that laptop, goes somewhere.
PII or otherwise.
Yes, PII and otherwise. So it's very important for us to know these things. Even if you are going to be hit from the legal aspect, you have traces to show that you weren't aware about this incident, right?
this sounds quite serious. So, as a business now, I'm just starting out. I don't have
Mm.
any digital infrastructure yet.
Yeah.
What would you advise I first look into, or what should I prioritize first?
So you should prioritize people before the process, before technology.
People, what do you mean, people?
People, your staff, people that work for that organization, humans, basically.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter the amount of, firewalls, security controls you put in place. Humans are always going to be the number one
Risk.
attack surface. The
Yeah.
number one risk for a
So,
threat actor.
how do people even attack humans?
I mean, yeah, like he said, social engineering, trying to be deceptive, trying to tell them, this is a bundle or this is a gift from the CEO, right? Click this link, fill in your name, fill in your password, log into your account, those kind of things. They could look legit, but it's very deceptive. So
Yeah.
today we're just here to talk about, cybersecurity breaches. What happens when a cybersecurity breach happens from the perspective of security, the business reputation. So I'll be looking at it from a security controls perspective.
Okay.
What controls should be put in place before that happens,
Okay.
right? And then you would be looking at it from a different angle.
Yeah, so I'll be looking at it from the business perspective and leadership roles. I mean, as a leader who doesn't look into IT that much or is not really concerned as a different role, what should we do and how do we move on with it?
You're tired of signing checks.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just want to be secure, but without the headaches.
Yeah. And I'll be looking at it from the business continuity perspective. If anything goes wrong, are you prepared? It's very important to be prepared.
So the very first thing that happens, when a security breach or an attack happens, right, is not to look at the attacker, it's to see how well you respond to confusion.
Yeah.
Right. The main discussion will just be, how do organizations treat cybersecurity? Do they think cybersecurity is an IT problem?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So over to you, right, as the business-centric person here. Centrisec, business-centric. So what do you think? Do you think breaches, cybersecurity incident, do you think it affects sales in any way? Do you think it affects the reputation?
I believe it definitely does because as a business owner, why would I want to patronize someone that I just saw in the news yesterday that their system was breached? So definitely it's going to cut all your business, your revenue, and that's why the business exists without your customers. So I think the first thing is starting by building trust. So even if I'm not technical, I look for people who are, I mean, there's different expertise. We have different CISOs and different roles that we can look towards.
Okay. From my perspective, I think is way more than being technical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes more into the business. We look at cybersecurity from a perspective of, is it an IT problem? It's never an IT problem,
Right.
right? It's a company problem. It's a business problem. If an incident goes wrong today,
Yeah.
right, would you hold IT accountable? No, you will hold the business accountable, right? Would your third parties want to work with you, for instance? I don't think so. If I was working with company A and company A got hacked today, I would close off every connection I have with them for that moment, at least to know that they are backup, and they have cleaned their environment, So it's very important that from the business perspective, we look at cybersecurity as the first response.
Not just an IT problem.
Yeah, it's not just
But
an
then
IT
coming
problem.
back to that, right? If it's a company you've built trust with over time,
Yeah.
I mean, would that really be fair to just cut them off?
Well, I mean,
On their
it's
first-
not about being fair.
Maybe we're talking about like I know, like obviously there should be no sentiment towards
Yeah.
cybersecurity implementation, all that.
Yeah.
But I'm just seeing a relationship that has been built over 20 years.
So I don't see it as being a fair decision or using fair as the word for it, right?
No emotion comes
Yeah.
with it.
So, but with business and financial risk,
Yeah.
I think emotions are aside, right? So we're talking about people's money. We're talking about people's data. We're talking about things people bank on day to day,
Yeah.
right?
But I believe incidents like this are chances to learn, to say the least.
Yeah,
So if they don't know before, they will know now
they do know
after the
now.
incident. So we might decide to give them a chance, but the damage is done. Sorry doesn't fix the heart.
I mean, like I said, that relationship built over span of how many years? Probably
Yeah.
someone you even went to school with. Do you get? So,
So is are people's employees or the customer data, are they still safe after breaches like this happen?
so it depends on the magnitude of the breach, right? It could be very controlled, very closed. It could be blown out.
But what of it in the case of a ransomware, for instance, where people's data have been locked somewhere, and or your business, for instance, you have denial of service.
That business will cry.
You know,
I do.
you
I do
yeah,
get that.
you have denial of service, and you're supposed to serve 1,000 customers and vendors, for instance, and the threat actors come out saying, "Oh, we're the ones that did this," and you have to find a way to come back up. When I mean come back up, you're going to do a lot of media control. You're going to
Yeah.
do a lot of, business control. You're going to do a lot of third-party control. You're going to do a lot of board and investor control.
So a lot of this is like when the damage is done. At least what can I start doing now so I won't hear all this kind of news tomorrow? So I won't be the first person.
So I wanted to even pose that question to you, right? As like the CEO, what do you think should be the first response when you see on the news that, we've been hacked, we've been breached? Like, what do you think?
I'm calling my CISO. Why am I paying you? Why are you here? So
yeah,
besides that, you've already stated that people are the weakest links.
yeah.
So I mean, even with all the
Sorry to people.
firewalls and everything you can have,
Yeah.
it just takes one link, as you said earlier. So I mean, I think first our most important thing to do is to educate people and make sure they're educated,
Educating
and at
people.
least find a way to enforce these things in the company.
Okay. I hear you, right? But you said you will call your CISO. So I wanted to ask from a CISO's perspective, right? What are the steps to take if an incident has, has been blown out?
So, like, what type? Are we talking ransomware?
We're talking big
Data
time. We're talking
infiltration?
ransomware. We're talking denial of service. We're talking big time. Infrastructure shutdown.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So the very first thing, like they always say, it will be to isolate. You really have to try to pinpoint the attack vector. At what point, whose node, whose workstation, what point in the infrastructure did that attack happen?
So this after you've air-gapped your infrastructure. I mean, you've isolated it from the internet, right?
Yeah, you'd isolate because you have to do forensics. Right?
Yeah.
You have to know the root cause. What actually caused this incident to happen. Then you remove from the internet and then you try to remediate, right? Try to even put controls in place. Right? Maybe it's very possible that you have a username password login form. Username password, no MFA. So once once that data has been exfiltrated, username password, that's it. One-time access to your environment.
So will you say businesses should have playbooks for this? If an incident happens, you should have a playbook to follow. Do you think it's very important?
There should be a red book, so to say, like, to follow after an incident. As
it should even be documented when the incident is happening. So there's a stigma, people have where a breach happens and the company keeps information, withholds information, not letting other people know how this breach happened.
But there are fines attached to that.
Yeah, there are fines attached to that. But
there are fines.
If some companies never get caught, they pay off the threat actor, and the whole situation just dies down. They're trying to protect their brand.
They're trying to manage.
But I think some businesses would like to give the excuse of damage control.
Yeah.
So how do you
debunk
that?
From my perspective, I believe communities always work with people, right? If there are cybersecurity communities that let you know of a 0-day incident, for instance, you know, that information will never be out if a company didn't let them know, oh, this is a scenario, or this is what has happened to us. If you don't come out to let people or let companies and organizations and communities know, oh, there's a new 0-day, or oh, this is the tactics that they've used, or oh, this is how threat actors have involved. Cybersecurity is not just a one-man army thing. I believe it's a whole
It's a
community
collective
thing.
effort.
Yeah, please, it's very important that you communicate. If you're in a fintech, for instance, you communicate to CBN, letting them know that, okay, this is an incident that's happened in the past. You have documentation, you have trails, so that they can be able to pinpoint these things.
So, I mean, you already know how difficult it is managing people. You can't read people's mind. You don't know what they want to do or what they are trying to do. Because tell me why somebody would just send a report that they did not read. There is a lot of AI now in this like extra day-to-day activities we do. Some people just generate different things and they even send company data,
Into
sensitive data to
yeah.
AI. So
There
what
should
kind of
there should
how do
be
we even
AI
stop this?
governance. So to
Yeah.
say. It's not full blown yet, right?
But I mean, it's not full blown in Africa,
Like
but
how NDPR points a gun to your head.
yeah, saying
Owns
your data,
controls.
people's control should
Yeah.
be, so I believe there should be a body that should be governing this, especially the use of AI.
Yeah, but when you say govern the use of AI, how would they know what I'm telling my AI? Is there a way to even secure these things? I mean, nobody knows my chat history.
So I mean, there are certain things that need to be governed, right? The I believe for an organization, I have my local LLM, for instance. I want to know, oh, are people using my AI for malicious things?
Purposes.
Yeah, purposes. Do you pen test your environment to know if things are happening without your knowledge? Cybersecurity is about what you can foresee. If you can't know something is happening to you in 4 days and it happens to you, would you now be in regret saying, oh, I wish I knew 4 days after it's 4 days before?
So you prepare for the worst.
Yes.
Really.
Yes. So I mean, AI governance is very important for every organization. AI is growing, LLMs are growing. It's very important to be ahead of this trend.
I remember the time when that company that said they have no use for AI, they have no staff making
Use of AI.
And then when we did, when we plugged our solution to
we
that,
could see
we could see calls being made outside
yes,
of their organization.
Yeah.
AI usage was actually
part of it.
part of
So
shadow AI usage, so.
from what I observe, right, in the day-to-day endpoints detection and response, right, back in let's say in 2010, we always think about antiviruses and how antivirus can be the strongest,
Kaspersky.
yes, if you don't have an antivirus, your system is going to be hacked, but today in today's environment, or in today's lights, it's way past antivirus now, right? Extensions bypass antivirus, AI chatbots bypass antivirus, plugins bypass antivirus. These are things that can still be used to hack your environment. Just one update from your AI chatbot, and your whole infrastructure is compromised.
But having a chatbot, is it not quite risky? Because, for example, the other day I was scrolling Instagram and I saw how they were talking about a hack, a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
They just asked the chatbot for credentials and he gave it to them. That's simple. So if companies that big can just even be getting deceived like that, so who am I to even, what can I even do with like quarter of their infrastructure?
Please hold that QA by the neck. Whatever quality analyst, looking at that project, hold it by the neck. Because I mean, how would you ask a chatbot for credentials and it gives you, just like that? These are things we should be looking at. Testing your solutions, testing your platforms? Before putting it out to the masses, up to the customers, have you properly done your checks?
But this was a platform that has millions of users, not single digit millions, double digit millions. Are you saying they don't test their products? How can that? So I think I'm just hearing a lot of danger, danger, danger.
Red
I'm not
flags,
ready
red flags,
to
red
like. It's
flags.
just red flags for me.
Okay, I mean, that wasn't a 0 day, right? That was an issue from the inside company or someone inside the company,
Like a
right?
misconfiguration, so to say. They are not
Yes,
implementing
yes. Even
AI
if
using it
yes,
properly.
even on a misconfiguration issue,
Hmm.
right? Can you prove to say that's a misconfiguration issue?
I mean, there are guardrails that you should put in place towards adopting AI or
Yeah,
implementing AI. So it still boils down to that even people are now still involved in technology.
yeah,
Because if someone was sleepy that day, had a very good Friday night, la 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 Friday,
yeah.
went to push code, didn't check certain things, didn't check this
Things,
line of code,
yeah,
guardrails, put
yeah.
scoping in place. I mean,
And there's a stigma with vibe coding. You guys must have heard what they call vibe coding. It's a new day-to-day trend.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, most companies now hire vibe coders.
but even Meta, Google, okay, let's not call it vibe coding, but AI assisted coding.
Yes, but these people
So
have
I
So,
think
no
we should
prior
kind of
knowledge.
zoom out. For example, if I mean if we already know all the dangers of it now. Let's say I want to start because at the same time I would like to, give my staff a good working experience. If
Mhm.
there's tools out there that makes their job easier, I would
yeah.
definitely want to try it out. So how do I do this in a very safe way where I can still be rest assured that my company is safe?
So it's still the same thing we talked about, guardrails, implementing controls.
Yeah,
Right? Controls doesn't have to be you buying $1 million firewall. It just has to be, like what is your risk tolerance? What kind of things can you accept and not accept? And then that feeds into context for creating your guardrails. Okay, should this chatbot, should this AI, should this LLM be able to do this? Should it give you this kind of information? Should it give you that kind of information?
yeah,
So at the end of the day, it's still risk tolerance, like what you can consume as a business, and then putting controls in place. It's up to not just the IT team. It's up to the developers. It's up to the sysadmins, even the people doing QA, to
yeah,
test and properly audit
yeah.
this.
So there's always this myth of buying more cybersecurity tools will make me secure. But so far, I think what I've learned today is that investing in people is
Yeah,
actually more
it's actually
valuable
more
than all
valuable.
this infrastructure.
Very spot on.
And also, secondly, I think having the right frameworks too is very important. As much as you invest in people, if you don't have a cybersecurity roadmap, if you don't have a cybersecurity goal, I don't think you'll be able to know what cybersecurity is all about. You know, for instance, in Nigeria, we're guided by the NDPR and EPA,
God,
right?
also God and inshallah.
Yeah, also good at inshallah, but yeah, we're guided by the NDPA, right? And there are controls there that speak to your company. You need to understand what policies to carry and what policies not to carry. A business offering marketing strategies now wouldn't offer the same or wouldn't have the same cybersecurity risk as a business in telecommunications
Yeah.
or a business in fintech, right? So we need to know what policies speak to our organization, and this is where Centrisec comes in. We help you align your businesses with the right policies, and help you align your businesses with the right controls. So I heard you say buying more cybersecurity tools, can make your organization stronger. I believe that's a myth. What do you think
Yeah,
about
but
that?
what's the point of doing? It's not like one tool really do everything. So at least I think we should just buy different tools for different use cases.
That's one way to go, right? To prevent vendor locking, right? But another thing you need to even consider is you need to properly secure and implement those security controls, right? We shouldn't neglect the fact that people still need training. People still need to be educated
Yeah,
on, common tactics, techniques, procedures of threat actors.
yeah,
They are evolving. It's
yeah,
not the same template that was used 6 months ago
That'll
that's
be
still
used
being used
today.
now.
Yeah.
Right. So I know you made mention of people process technology. So
Yeah.
the process even has to support technology too. Because if you have processes in place, say, usage policy, maybe adoption policy, things like that, the process has to support technology that's on hand to carry out that process. Right. You can't just buy any tool and expect any tool to give you that level of satisfaction. Right. So that's why I think, people need to be trained. Security controls need to be properly implemented, configured, Yeah, that's just
And
my
I
take on
also
it.
think, like you said, one control can't solve all problems,
Yeah.
right? That's why we also have complementing controls. We have passwords, for instance, but we have multi-factor authentication for that. That's a complementing control too. Even if a password is breached, do they have something you don't have? So it's very important we have complementary controls in place so that if the first one is breached, they hit a second roadblock.
So that means with a multi-factor authentication enabled,
Mhm.
that means I'm safe now. Nothing can happen to my account.
I mean, you've taken a step towards being secure.
Yes.
You can't be like complete security is a fallacy. You can't completely be secure,
Yeah.
right? But you can put approach. You can try to
Be secure.
mitigate, try to secure as
So
much
if
as
I can't be completely secure, why can't I pay for more tools? Why is paying for more tools now a bad thing?
I mean,
Because
is
it
there-
sounds like
Is there anything that's 100% foolproof?
It's not even for even air gap systems, still have humans that are not
Humans,
secure.
right?
you know,
Even
know,
even Detour tells us
yeah. So okay, for instance,
99.9%. So
you have a house, and you have a gate man. What's the full trust you give to your gate man?
right. Do you
You
have
know.
6 gate men?
Do you have 6 gate men? The 6 gate men that you have, do they all trust each other?
Right.
So
One
it's
could
very
be an
important.
insider.
Yeah, so it's very
so
important
the
we have
tools
these
should
controls.
complement each other.
Yes.
Like the weak spots. For example, I have a gate man, but I can also decide to have CCTV
Yes.
for a
Yeah.
different fallback and have
Yes.
like 2 Rottweilers.
And still have electric fence.
So those are detective controls, like
Yeah.
CCTV to detect,
Yeah.
guard dogs to also detect,
yeah.
even the security guards,
Yeah.
operational and also detective control.
And don't forget to have proactive controls because anything can go wrong.
Proactive control is not gone.
It's not going to, but we're just saying to have proactive controls.
Yeah.
So what are the core, from a digital perspective, what are the core things I should now look at in terms of securing my system?
So the core things to look out for, right? You have to audit your vendor.
Yeah.
Auditing that supply chain is quite important
Yeah.
because even if you buy next generation firewalls, if you are buying it from someone that doesn't have a good rap sheet, you could still introduce bugs. You could still introduce, an attack surface into your
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
So auditing your vendor, implementing proper controls, training people to even use those controls, because people helps processes that helps technology.
Yeah.
So it's symbiotic. It's not mutually exclusive, right?
So operationally, right, there's different third parties that could do a lot of all this, but there's still a security concern giving them access to your systems or your
Yeah.
data. So even if you say you're a cybersecurity company, what makes me able to trust you with my company's data and all that from an operational endpoint? How do I proceed?
So I think one thing that's very important would be what frameworks are they proposing they implement, right? If you know the right frameworks to address that issue or that concern, then it starts to seem like, you have an idea of what you're doing. You can't propose to me GDPR when I am in Nigeria.
So my own perspective, I think you should always have an agreement, right? SLAs with companies. If you are going to go into any contract with any company or any vendor, it should be binded legally. If there's a breach of contract, you have who to hold. Documentation is very important in cybersecurity. The same way documentation is important in law and in the legal perspective, right? If you can't prove what you say, it never happened. If you can't prove that you and this vendor were in business or have an understanding or have an agreement. It never happened, right? So it's very important to have an SLA to prove that, oh, this wasn't stated in our SLA. Why is data being exfiltrated? Or why are you keeping my data for more than 2 months? All those things should be stated in your agreement.
For example, my data operationally they are not quite sensitive. So I mean, if I get ransomware on it, I don't really care.
I
How
mean, what level of data are you talking about? Are you talking about PII, which is your name and maybe your age, or SPII, which is your bank details, or things that go way further than that? What sort of
I
level
just
of
have
data?
people's emails and addresses. I'm a logistics company, so for example, all we just do, we deliver their products. How can an attacker use that data for anything bad?
I mean, if they do have access to, any form of information, it could be chained, right?
Yes,
It's not always an isolated event. I
attackers
have
are
your
smart.
email,
Yeah.
something moves into
I mean, even if they
something
have your
moves into
email, for
something.
instance, it starts from phishing. They can bombard you with different phishing pages, different login pages,
And you
and
will
just
cry.
just one day you will fall into victim. So the essence of this is not them not having your data. Who doesn't need your data should not have your data. Who legally shouldn't have your data.
So the data controller, you need to align with your data
Data
controller,
controller,
data
yes,
owner, who is the
yes.
data custodian,
Yeah,
things like
all of
that.
those things need to come into place. With after all that's been said, right? How can organizations and companies satisfy people, process, and technology?
Yeah, so I mean, the key lesson we've learned here today is that security starts from your people, not just the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So, for example, there's this HRM, Human Risk Management Portal, we integrated for our companies, our clients. It's before then, people are not usually aware because there's actually no way for you to enforce them to learn all these things and make sure that they know about how bad these things are until
Human
it happens to
human
them.
human control was always weak.
Yes, human control
Yeah.
is always weak. You can't control human beings. So that's what this portal does. It helps us do everything in one place in terms of training them, controlling them, and enforcing they actually learn all these things as well as testing them. And at the end of the day, we don't even need to take any data outside that. The reports and everything, it's also in one place. Direct audit ready reports to our external
Auditors.
external auditors, and then as good as that.
So, I think you've sold the portal many
Yes,
times.
yes, I have.
So, what do you think? What are the things that? Oh wow, this
So the truth
portal.
is, most businesses fall back to compliance. Let's be honest. Businesses are guided by compliance. It's, the same way humans are guided by compliance, right? A business will always want to be ready for audits. Are your audits ready for your external auditors, whether you are audited by CBN or audited by whatever framework or standard you are governed by, let's say the ISO, for instance.
Yeah.
They come here and audit you. They ask you for proof to show that you've done phishing simulations. Being always ready for an audit, is the key things for companies. They always want to be ready to show that, oh, we are compliant, we are proactive. This is where Centrisec comes into place, and this is where the HRM comes into place, right?
Because there's always so many things to gather during an
Gather,
audit.
yeah,
I know
during an
how it
audit,
says you go
yeah,
here, get this file, get this document, go here, get this thing, get that thing.
yeah,
It's a whole lot of headache.
yes, it is a whole lot of
Right
headache.
now, with just one click, I'm
Yeah,
done.
everything can be downloaded. Yes, with just one click from the Centrisec platform, all your reports can be downloaded, as detailed as possible. Even way more detailed than you might even presume.
Mapped directly to
Yeah,
NDPR and ISO. So, as a company that needs to comply with data procedures from NDPR and ISO, now there's no much infrastructure I need to start taking care of. Everything is just
in
that
one
headache is
click.
gone.
Yeah,
So basically, we plug into the organization, right? We set up the infrastructure so that we
yeah,
can run phishing sims, give
yeah,
them a very deceptive landing page. The
yeah.
sysadmins can select all that.
Yes,
everything now being tied to their risk score.
Yeah, risk score,
So
yes.
the human risk score for the staff
Yeah.
informs the organization's
Organization,
risk
yeah.
score, or no, informs the department, which
Risk score.
informs the organization.
Risk score, yeah.
Right. So everything. How many clicks? Not too many. I mean, under a minute.
Yeah, it's not up to a minute. I don't think it's up to a minute to run a
So everything,
phishing campaign on the platform. I don't
everything
think
looks
so.
very, attractive. You
Yeah.
start up a campaign. You select the templates, the landing page. You
Yeah.
can select all that.
Yeah.
Your users can see all that, right? And then at the end of the assessment or at the end of the simulation, audit ready reports, right?
Yeah.
Detailed audit
Audit ready reports.
telling them about their human risk score.
Yeah.
So the human risk score is, how susceptible they are to, phishing sims, how well prepared are they against phishing simulations.
Yeah, and let's not even
phishing
forget that
attacks.
we train on the platform.
Yes,
Right.
so
That's one very important thing to talk about.
there's a lot of
Training. Yeah,
involved.
training is very important. If you are going to be testing someone, they also know what they should be tested by.
There should be an assessment.
Yeah, there should be an assessment for
after
it.
a training module,
An assessment comes
interactive
first.
video, video content, then
Yeah.
an assessment.
Okay, so can you just give me a breakdown on how everything is done in the 3 steps? Or will I say in the 4 steps?
Okay, in 3 steps, basically.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'll say it's just 1 step.
The
Because
first-
all
the-
you need to do is register. We handle the rest.
Okay. Yes. The first
So
step
it's
is logging
basically
in.
1 step. The
Yeah.
first step is just onboarding Centrisec, and that's really all. But on a larger scale, all they just need to do once they log in and they train, you can verify that they've trained. You can
Yeah.
enforce them to even watch these trainings. For example, my finance team doesn't have the same exposure to someone in sales, for example.
Yeah,
So
Yes.
risk exposure.
yeah, so there's different content that they consume specific to their roles, departments,
Departments.
and their exposure. So once that's done and it's enforced, I can even set up a deadline to say this must be done by latest tomorrow. And then when it's done, with 2 clicks, I just create the campaign and test them. I can see who failed, who didn't, who passed. And then from there, once the campaign is done, the reports just comes in as easy as that.
So
We're all good. And we
everything
know
everything is not being managed by us. We just have to put that disclaimer. Like
Yeah.
the sysadmins,
Yeah.
whoever will give access to company admin, platform admin,
And
they have all that.
there's a very
access,
serious
so-
question, right? Companies would like to ask is, how long do we keep their data for? Do we keep passwords? If we are taking emails from companies, do we keep their passwords? How long do we keep their passwords for? Could any of you answer to that?
Firstly, we don't even keep passwords.
Yeah.
So we don't even know who and your company. We basically give you the infrastructure and manage the infrastructure, but everything is still managed by you or your CISO or whoever you put in charge.
And it's local.
Yes.
It's local. So are you saying that you take as minimal data as possible for everything to be done?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Once at the onboarding, I think we just require the staff name and email.
Yes, just minimum details about the staff that we
And their
use
roles.
And
to
departments,
score.
yeah.
We just gather
their
minimal
HRS.
details
Yeah.
that are
Score.
necessary to get accurate risk scores for each department.
Yeah.
Besides that, there's really nothing else.
So now, even looking at the process, what do you like? How do controls or how do organizations try to satisfy
I think
process?
I can confidently say any company that has onboarded Centrisec,
Yeah.
their click rates will be 0 or close to 0, if not 0. Before Centrisec, it's very high. It's almost at least 90% for 90% of companies.
Testimony.
Okay, the other question I'll ask is, how do you guys secure businesses outside technology? For instance, I own a business and I want to protect my brand identity, right? How do you guys go about it? How does Centrisec help businesses to go about that?
Okay, but we first need to discuss on technology.
Right.
So because of audit regulations, VAPT is also paramount.
Yes.
Right? Doing security assessment, security auditing,
Yeah.
trying to understand your current security posture and what your target security posture is.
Yeah.
So that service is, paramount to our operation as an organization too. But back to your question, outside of technology, right? I think we did mention takedowns. We did mention brand identity,
Yes.
right? So we scour the web, so to say,
Yeah.
looking for fake domains, impersonation, brand impersonation, anything that's harming the business or the
Yeah.
client or the vendor in one way or the other.
Yeah.
And then we are just attempt to do takedown. Takedown being remove them from the internet,
From
be it
the
social
internet,
media,
yeah.
be it the dark web, be it places that the sun doesn't shine.
Do you guys remember the clients that came to us saying that their customer was reached out to by a fake LinkedIn page, and said the customer was asked for his account number and those details they were asked for, right? And that was the way they were used to breach the account.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how often these things work.
Yeah.
I mean, very simple things. You might just think, nah, come on, this won't work.
Right?
But
Yeah.
you just see that
Yeah.
over 90% of breaches come from human error.
Yeah.
Just simply clicking a link or answering a question. So not even reporting that email is already a
Yeah.
red flag. So it starts from there, and then that's what Centrisec solves. We eliminate all these issues.
Okay, so I mean, it has been quite insightful today.
Yeah,
Right?
it has.
We've dissected a number of topics. We've talked about, unscrambling things. We've talked about knowing what is myth, what is fact.
What is fact,
right?
yeah.
So at the end of the day, we're just trying to push out, ignorance. We're trying
Ignorance,
to
yeah.
make sure that companies are well protected, being proactive rather than being reactive. Right. So everything we do align, we protect and
Comply.
just comply to.
Take home, what is one lesson that I would say at least someone should have taken home after this session?
Okay, so I would say one thing they should take home with them is you shouldn't think you are too small to be hacked, right? If you're a business, if you're an individual, an entity, they could come for you from any angle and
Yeah.
with any context, with any form of motivation or purpose. So you shouldn't think because you don't necessarily have digital information, you can't be prey to this kind of.
Yeah. And I also think every business should think about the point of business continuity, right? If something happens today, how can we recover? How can we bounce back? Businesses, some businesses have crumbled just by a ransomware or a denial of service. They crumbled, their brand identity crumbled, their customers crumbled, their investors and partners, left. So it's very important
Sad
to
stuff.
yeah, it's down stuff, but it happens. So it's very important to have, a team and the funds ready, Yeah, it's very important to have the team and the funds ready, to be able to, subside the issue at hand.
Mitigate.
Yeah,
so
and
to say.
mitigate these things, yeah.
So I would say basically all you should take home is it's never too early to protect yourself. Today
Word.
is always the best
Clock
time.
it, clock.
Yes.
Right now, not later, not tomorrow, right now, because 1 minute is too late to respond to an incident. When it happens,
True.
it's in the past.
Yeah. And remember, always have a plan.
All right, guys. So I mean, quite informative, quite exciting. We look forward to doing this once again.
Again, yeah.
So this is cheers from all of us at Centrisec.
Cheers to
Cheers.
Centrisec.